All right, you ready for some questions from viewers? We're going to put you on the hot seat this
Okay,
time,
and I'm more than willing to throw it back at you.
Okay.
But okay, go for it.
All right. This one you're not going to throw back. Danny writes in, if you have a burning desire to be married, what do you do when you feel God isn't answering your prayers? And you are 36.
Well, I'm a little bit older than 36, and I have a lot of friends who are old.
You're 29.
Good answer. That's so true. That's so true. I think, you know, one of the best bits of advice I've ever heard from anyone that they said was time was your friend. I think when you're single, we all have the pressures, and we say, you know, either my time is ticking, my biological clock is ticking, my parents want grandkids, and so there's pressure. And so by the time I'm 40 or by the time I'm 35, we put that external pressure on ourselves. And the reality is that we've got to realize that God's timing is perfect. It really is an essence of trusting God for what he wants in our lives, and trusting that while we're waiting, what's he trying to do in us? Is he trying to complete something in us? Are there certain issues that maybe he's trying to work out so that we are that good gift when God brings us together? Or better yet, maybe that person we've been praying for, he's not ready or she's not ready. So you just have to trust God with the things that you don't see.
Well, how do you answer, you know, what Paul said, that it's better to marry than it is to burn?
Okay, here's my theory on that one. I think, I'll put it this way, marriage is difficult. I've been married, and I've seen too many people jump into marriage because either they want to have sex too quickly, or maybe they're intimate and they feel like they've got to right the wrong by getting married. In other words, their motive might be, their reason for marriage, their motive might be off. In other words...
So if your motive is sex...
Yes, thank you.
Then that's the wrong motive.
Yeah.
What should be the right motive? Really
following the desire of God's heart, not just your heart, but God's heart. When all of those green flags say, yeah, the timing's right, you're mature, he's mature, that's when you kind of like, you go there. And here's another thing too. One of the fruits of the Spirit is self-control. And so I think as singles, one of the #1 issues we have is that burning desire to either have sex or to be touched or some level of intimacy. Well, if God can govern and if he can heal our outside flesh, he can also heal that burning desire. And it really is a fruit of the Spirit where, you know, patience and self-control, it's evident. And how do we do that?
Where do you go with that?
For me personally?
Yeah, other than chocolate.
I was about to say, you know me and my chocolate cake. I think it's a couple things. I really do say, okay, Lord, this is how I'm feeling today, because a lot of time that burning desire, if you give it 24 hours, it'll go, you know, being for real. Lord, I give this to you today. You know, help me renew my mind in this. Help me to cast down every imagination, because a lot of times before the desire even starts, it starts in the mind. You see something, you want it, and then all of a sudden your body reacts, and then it becomes a desire if you don't release it over to the Lord first. And then good old-fashioned busyness. I've got a son. So if that starts to happen, then I'm like, okay, let me take him here. Let me do this, or let me serve someone. Let me do something for someone else so that the focus isn't so much on me, my need, my desire, my feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question. Hal writes in, I'm a Christian, recently single after a 16-month relationship. How do I move on and quit thinking about her 24/7? I know it was the right decision to break up, but I really miss her.
You know what? Kind of the same answer. Time is your friend. I have a couple girlfriends who have gone through heartbreak, myself included, even going through a divorce. And you have a lot of people say, oh, just trust in Jesus and you're fine. Just get over it. You'll be okay. But you know what? I think it's okay to navigate through that, the pain and the heartache, and to sometimes cry. You have to.
Don't you have to grieve?
Absolutely.
And isn't it much like a death?
Right.
Where it's a minimum of 2 years.
Thank you. I don't know if we could put a time frame on it, but I will say this. When I went through my divorce, someone said something to me that infuriated me, and they said, all right, the divorce papers are signed, just get over it. I was like, really? And that hurt my heart, because I said, you are not validating the emotions and the feelings and the heartbreak. So give it time. It's okay to cry. It's okay to mourn. It's okay to talk it out. But then there comes a time when you give it to the Lord. You say, Lord, my heart hurts. But if you can heal my exterior, you can heal my interior.
Should you jump into a new relationship?
No, big O, no. Don't do it, no. The rebound is the worst thing, because not only are you going to compromise in that, but you're also going to hurt another person in the process. And it's just feeling an exterior void.
All right, I want to do one more just real quick.
Okay.
Vanessa writes in, I'm 42 years old and have never been married. I tend to lower my standards in dating men in order to not be alone. The last relationship I was in ended terribly, and I cannot seem to get over it. I'm depressed. I feel lost, find myself crying all the time. What should I do when praying to God just doesn't seem to be enough?
You know what the essence of that true issue is? It's not loneliness, it really is trust. Do you really trust that God has that person for you? Do you really trust that he hears your prayers? Do you really trust that when he says he delights himself in the desires of your heart, that he really delights himself in that? And I think because we don't trust God, we go before him and we compromise and we settle and we see something that's there, and for that moment it appeases us, and so we jump in, and the next thing you know, we're wounded by that. I think it's one of those things we got to go back to, do I trust you? Do I trust that you have my back, Lord, and know really what I desire?
What about the whole lowering the standards? It's even become a joke where you need to settle down.
Right? Yeah, that's a hard one. And I've got to be 100% honest with you. The older you get, that temptation is there. I will put my hand up and be the first one in line to say that I had a huge, long list, and the older you get, that list goes... And then all of a sudden, you just want somebody with a job and who's alive, who breathes, you know?
And a Christian.
And a Christian who knows Jesus and can spell it. But, but it's one of those things where, you know, you might have to rechange your list. So rather than you want that 6-foot-something guy to a guy who really does love the Lord, and you got to kind of switch your priorities. It's a hard one to navigate.
So you're down to 5'10"?
Am I down to 5'10"? I still want my 6'3". I can't lie. I can't lie. But whoever Jesus has for me. Isn't that what we're supposed to say? I'm kidding. Kind of.
He'll give you the desires of your heart.
There you go. I like that. That was pretty good. That was kind of fun.
That's all the time we have for the questions. If you got questions, this is going to be an ongoing series with Christy. So all you have to do is log on to cbn.com and put them in, and we'll try to get to them on the program.